Oh, hi there. It's me, your Christmas boy. Welcome to What Now, ladies and gentlemen, brothers and sisters, friends and comrades all. And yes, as you can tell, it is Christmas time again. No, in all seriousness, for my general dour demeanour, I do dearly love Christmas time. I love Yule, I love Saturnalia, I love the whole stretch of this ever-going festival. And it always does this bleak black hole where something like a heart should be inside me good to see that members of the OrphaTube community are doing their little bit, their very best, to spread some Christmas cheer during this annus horribilis that has been 2020, and I thought it was such a lovely sentiment, such a wonderful idea, that What Now should probably go ahead and do its own bit towards that, because it's very important, especially in times like this, to remember what Christmas is really all about. Presents, gifts, material goods, buying and selling of merchandise, the ever-turning, lubricated wheels of commerce, and togetherness. And what better way to express that feeling of togetherness than by participating in yet another tag video? A way of holding hands with the community and swaying softly in a round-the-world carol concert, and not at all a cynical ploy as an attempt to try and plug some merchandise of your own that may be coming out in the near future. Shh down, boy. Yes, in the midst of Vlogmas and everything else, I came across the Christmas tag, rather poignantly named, and I thought, hot damn, I think I'll have a go of that, because it's getting towards the end of the year where I have not posted very much, and I should probably go ahead and post something before Annus Horribilis has reached its terminus. This Christmas tag has a long and noble history. I stole it from B.C Brown, who in turn, I think, acquired it from Sarko Toomey, so we're going to have a little play with this. Here within What Now's little black book, we have the questions of the Christmas tag, along with a naughty and nice list for all OrphaTubers. I'll give you a clue. The nice list has one name on it. With a slight disclaimer, because we're going a little differently on this, all of these questions are to do with the main characters from a book you already have, a book you're working on, etc, etc. So naturally I will be using the Dead Meat SEXTET, but you can pre-order for release on the 15th of February 2021. But here's the thing, there is no single main character in that book. It's an ensemble piece, so I will simply be answering these questions in relation to any arrangement of the principal cast that seem to fit it best. So, question 1. What is your main character's favourite Christmas song? One of the principal characters and a focus of the titular sextet is Dame Caroline Shaw, and given her older years, I think I can safely say that she likes the classics. She probably likes Have Yourself a Merry Little Christmas, specifically from Meet Me in St. Louis. I imagine she would have seen that on the cinema when she was younger. There's another chap, his only name is Crookshank, and I dare say that his favourite Christmas song is Rocking Around the Christmas Tree, specifically the version from the 1980s, it was either late 80s, early 90s, covered by Kim Wilde and the English comedian Mel Smith. I don't think he knows why he likes it, but he plays it over and over and over again and doesn't seem to get tired of it. Mind you, he is also several centuries in the future, so who knows what may have come along in that time. Another character from that same time period of the book, long after the end of the world and in the distant future, Charlie. Charlie is probably the kind of person who has a CD, it would have been a CD once upon a time, is no longer, that had been recorded from the choir of the local church, just singing traditional Christmas carols, and he'd give what money he had to support that ongoing creative endeavour, even though it doesn't sound great. You know, it's clearly been recorded straight into someone's laptop in a church which has nightmarish acoustics if you don't get it just right. But yeah, he probably likes his traditional Christmas carols from amateurs who are just doing their best. What is on your main character's Christmas list? I think the old man just wants something to eat. I think he would quite happily make do with the traditional English Christmas stocking of a bag of nuts and a couple of tangerines. I think that would do him quite nicely. Something to eat that is of substance, I think, would be on his Christmas list. Madame Visage, my darling Emery, the Lady of Death. I know what she wants because she told me. She wants a pet. She wants a little animal companion. But that was my boots squeaking. I do apologise. Yes, she just wants something around the place to keep her company. Something for her to fuss over. Something for her to love. Just something nice and normal, you know, like an emu or a cassowary, a couple of capybaras that would see to envy. But a couple of capybaras with a big red bow under the Christmas tree would make Envy very, very happy this Christmas. Which main character would believe in Santa Claus? Now, here is a tricky thing, because the Dead Meat Sextet, along with everything else I write, takes place in a sort of shared psychonautic dimensional plane, and in said psychonautic dimensional plane, Santa Claus, more specifically Father Christmas, actually exists. He is a fact of the universe. It's just a book I haven't written yet. Well, I've written about 40,000 words of it, but I haven't written the full novel. So he is a part of this this cosmology, but that wasn't the question. The question was which of them believe in him. Fergus certainly believes in his selling power. Fergus Straw, who owns a chain of tabloid newspapers, really likes the fact that, you know, you can just slap the image of the red and white fat man on anything and people will buy it. So he really likes that aspect. He really believes in that power. Most of the human characters in it are adults, and they have passed beyond the point of believing in Father Christmas. Envy, again, Madame Visage, not only believes in him but knows him personally, because it's quite a lonely existence being the Lady of Death. And is this a spoiler for a book I haven't written yet? It might be. Who cares? It's Christmas. Father Christmas is one of the very few celestial entities that actually seeks out her company and includes her in the ongoing festivities of the, shall we say, Tulpaic universe. The Smiling Man, who is as close as this book has to a villain, well, he likewise is well aware of the reality of Father Christmas, and he finds him incredibly amusing. Which main character would drink eggnog? Yeah, in as much as reality exists within this book, all of my characters are English, and eggnog is not really a thing over here. There is a thing called advocar, which is very similar, but there's a change in the process of making it. God, I should have looked this up. What is the functional difference between eggnog and advocar? Anyway, I can safely say that before she became so ill, Dame Caroline would very much have enjoyed a few glasses of Advocaat. The continuation of this question is, or if not eggnog, what would be their favourite drink? Fergus, for all of his pretensions and his wealth, is very much a vodka and Red Bull kind of guy all year round. It's his go-to because he's a wanker. Charlie is not much of a drinker, but I dare say he could be tempted to a nice traditional mulled wine, you know, with the cinnamon and everything. I think that would be his tipple of choice come Christmas time, come the Yuletide. But I dare say it would only take a glass and a half to get him absolutely shit-faced, because he has no tolerance to the stuff whatsoever. But a very merry man would Charlie Leonard be if he had a couple of mulled wines. Cruikshank probably drinks anything that's brightly coloured, you know, like a WKD or something. Something that when you're drinking underage, which of course none of you did, none of you touched a drop of alcohol before you were of age, did you? But let's say you did, those sort of, what they used to call Alco Pops. He probably likes it very sweet, and it's blue or pink, and it looks like the sort of thing you'd clean the drains with, but you can't get enough of it, that sort of thing. Envy is a Bailey's girl. That's all I have to say on that. There's no way she isn't. Under the circumstances, the old man, I think he would very, very much appreciate a hot chocolate. I think he'd really like something warm and thick and rich. I think that would do him quite nicely. But alas, no eggnog. Sorry. Does your MC wake up early or sleep in on Christmas Day? Well, ain't that a question. The old man doesn't get to sleep in ever. The 25th of December is just one more day of unrelenting, Kafkaesque, Sisyphean horror for him. Fa la 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 la. Dame Caroline probably slept in because before she was widowed, she was probably quite used to her late husband bringing her breakfast in bed. He was that sort of guy. So even at this late stage, as she's reaching the end of her life, she's probably still in some part of herself expecting him to come through the door with the tray and the kiss on the forehead, but alas, no more. Fa la 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 la. For people like Cruikshank and Charlie, again, they're in the very far future, so Christmas probably doesn't exist for them anymore. Envy, in as much as there is such a thing for immortals as a hangover, has been to the castle, has been to the castle in the glacier on Christmas Eve for the ceremony. Massive spoilers for a book I haven't written yet, by the way. So if she can have something like a hangover, she probably has something like a hangover. But there is no rest for little Envy because she's got to get to work immediately because the dead don't take Christmas off. And the smiling man can sleep as late as he likes if he so chooses. If indeed he chooses to sleep, the universe just sort of waits for him. Which MC would bake Christmas treats? Without a shadow of a doubt, Envy and Charlie. They're the only ones who would be so inclined. Gus could possibly be pressed into it, but he'd have to be particularly excited about wanting to do it, like he'd stayed up all night and binge-watched a couple of series of the Great British Bake Off and decided that he could do better than Paul Hollywood. But, yeah, Envy and Charlie definitely would. Charlie would bring you the most mathematically precise and geometrically perfect biscuits and cookies and brownies and those little fudge cubes that people make, and then would take very precise notes over what you could taste at what point, so that next year he could get it absolutely perfect. And envy would probably go in exactly the opposite direction. They would still be perfect in an almost supernatural sense, but the sheer glee with which she would attack the problem, that it would be so messy. You know, like when you get a cake or a cookie or a biscuit or something, and it looks aesthetically bloody awful. It's a great big knobbly splat, but my god, it tastes like a facial orgasm. It's that good. Of course, Envy likes to bake things in the shape of animals because she really, really loves animals, but she lives in the netherworld and doesn't really know what proper animals look like. So she can only really go off of the wildlife of the netherworld, of the howling. So you would probably be sat at her Christmas table and she would come out of a smoking alcove covered in flour and strawberry jam, and there'd be a couple of cherries in her hair. There's been this culinary explosion, and she'd bring you this tray of basically white chocolate chip and raspberry Cthulhu's. There was a bonus question that's for the author, and that was, what are your favourite holiday books? And I can't really think of many that are that have Christmas in their heart, but for me it's A Christmas Carol. A Christmas Carol, I can safely say, is my favourite book of all time. It's as close, I think, that human hands can create the perfect story. It has everything you could possibly want, and it shaped me as a writer greatly. I mean, this is all spirit quests and supernatural creatures giving insights to the human condition. That it's there. Christmas Carol affected me as a writer more than anything else. And for a little bit of real talk now, it doesn't really matter what the version is, film-wise, and reading the book does it to me every time. But Scrooge waking up on Christmas morning and realizing he has a second chance. I'm not a crier. I don't cry, but that gets me every time. That moves something in me, particularly the Alistair Sim version. The Alistair Sim interpretation of Scrooge for me is absolute perfection. And you know, there's no country in Europe that doesn't have a certain haunting element to Christmas, but Britain, particularly England, has a very long-standing tradition of Christmas Eve being a haunted night. You know, the Venerable Saint Bede, or rather, the Venerable Bede, in the 6th or 7th century, wrote about a pagan ritual that took place on the 24th of December. The only thing we know about it is that it was called Mother's Night or Moedersnacht. I can't remember exactly because it's really quite late at night or early in the morning, depending on where you stand. So yes, there is this pagan Celtic element to the Christmas as I understand in my culture that is expressed so beautifully within A Christmas Carol, in tandem with the more modern Christian interpretation of it. They overlap very nicely, and unlike some film adaptations, the commercialization of it is not in the book. Scrooge's actions are judged by his behaviour, not by going on a shopping spree. And that touches me. That really it really shaped not only my creative outlook, but my moral outlook as well. Growing up and being taught in a, I was a Catholic for a very long time. I've since been rehabilitated, but going through the Catholic education system, I found the fate of Jacob Marley far more morally plausible and terrifying than any depiction of hell that could be given to me. Again, it's a very pagan idea, and these sort of pre and then post romantic spirit quests you get in the Rime of Ancient Mariner as well. These orphic journeys have completely influenced me as a writer. Got a bit real then, didn't it? God. But yes, ladies and gentlemen, brothers and sisters, friends and comrades all, that was my little go at the Christmas tag. And I suppose I should go ahead and tag somebody else. I tag literally anyone that can get one of these made before Christmas Day itself. Well, I am off. And I am off for the rest of the year because I have finished my book. It is all set for sale. I am taking a little holiday from all of this writing thing, and I will be doing this stuff again in the new year. So I wish you and yours, ladies and gentlemen, brothers and sisters, friends and comrades all, a very, very Merry Christmas. And let us not forget, at the end of this bastard of a year, this annus horribilis, let us take comfort in remembering what Christmas time is really, really all about. And that is a sustained series of decadent pagan rituals intended to bring back the sun to the dark earth that by civic compromise Christianity is allowed to join in. Good evening.